This little clip here is getting in my way, and it's actually the back part of what's holding on the other section that I need to pull off. So I'm going to undo these 6 screws here, take off that armrest that I need to take off, and do the repair in there, and that'll have that out of the way, which is just going to make it easier for me to get that handle in. Screws are out. There was a 7th under the wire up at the front, and now lifting this up and pulling it this way, just like that, is going to get that out. And that is the button. Oh, look at that, it's the boot opening button, has pushed through. So we'll have a look at the tabs and put that back in. And if the tabs are broken, we might need to put a bit of glue or something, or a zip tie or something to hold it a little bit tighter. There was nothing broken on it at all. It's clipped back in. So there you go. She's back in and nice and tight. Just checking that it's not going to come out again. But that's in, that's clipped in, all in place. As I said, if there was a tab broken, you could put a bit of super glue under the edge there or something like that, and then let it dry before you put it back. But that's now back in place. It was really easy, as I said, these 7 screws, and then just peeling it forward at the front, and it came straight out. But what it's done, this is now missing, and this is now got so much more room to reach in. So it's going to make it way easier to get that handle in. I'm going to say it now, I'm having to move this out in order to get it all lined up. You do have to take that off in order to be able to switch this out. See how I'm moving that out and out of the way? You're not going to be able to get it in there and on without it. There, like that. There we go. Then we get that lined up where we know that that's on the slit. And then we can start to put it all back together. So now we're going to put it all back together. This is the first screw. And that's beautiful, starting to hold it together. And just check on the other side to make sure that it's aligned in here, which that is. And then we're going to have to pull up to put that self-tapper in the other one with the washer to pull up that side. So we're still working on this melted plug here. You have to get it to sit down, so that'll sit down. You can tell from the other side that it's all aligned, that it's in place. And then I've got an 1/8 drill, and I'm going to drill down into the middle of that melted plug, and that will give me something to screw into, like that. Now I just need a washer and a self-tapper, and I'll be able to screw that in and hold it all tight. Screw I've got, this is actually a self-drilling self-tapper. Yours don't have to be self-drilling. I've gone for about the same length as the other ones that were there, and got a nice big washer on it, and it almost would have pulled up with that head, because it's got a really big head on it, but because it's a door handle, I want it to be nice and strong, so I'm going to put it up like that and screw it up, and that will be awesome. That's screwed up beautifully in place there, and the check that you've got it to sit right is here on this back edge of this, and it's all sitting beautiful. If that's sitting out, then you know you haven't got this cup bit sitting over the melted plastic bit. So that's all perfect, sitting wonderful. And yes, my family's in there watching Star Wars while I'm out here doing this. So that's a check. So that part is done. We've got the handle repaired, so now we put the handle back on. You've got a clip there and in there, where that'll sort of slide into position, then come back, and then those 7 screws will hold it in position. Okay, so if you look at this fitting here, you see these all spear fingers and the little clip there that locks it in place. You can see it's going to go in, this is from the top, and slide in onto all of these. And then once it's slid in place, then all of these screws are going to hold it. So, you get this up. We'll put the wire through first. And then we've got to find our sliding spots. So back there. There we go. on. And again, keep turning over to make sure it's all looking right. And then 2 more to go back, one on the back of that, holding that in place, and one down there. We'll put those 2 screws on now. So the door card is all back together. We've got our wires back. We're now going to get all of these back on and in place, including the catch. The handle which runs down to here has got to be reattached. Okay, so to start with, we're going to put this handle back on, and that is up high and over onto that metal clip. Exactly like that. Well, let's make it easy for ourselves. Let's take it out of that clip. That's the button that goes up and down into the door actuator. So that has to then clip in as well, like that. So that is now in properly. This is in and secure, and that clip there is in and secure. And we do need to remember to put that back under that clip once we've got all these wires on. It's a bit of a balancing act though, getting all of this together. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom of the card and put these 2 on. This here clipped over like that, wires down, clips in nice and solid. This one comes around the back, and there's always a little slot on these which lines up with that little ear there. Bang, click. Beautiful. Those 2 are in. Now, these wires do need to be held in place by these guys all around. You don't want them to get in the way of these clips and screws, so they need to be held in place. Coming up the door, there's 2 more over here. So next we're going to put this little tweeter in, and he goes into this circle here. So it's a matter of mounting it in that side. There's a lug under there. These wires need to point down again. There's a lug under there you need to get into, and then you just lever that back a little bit. But just be very careful your wires. Whoop, there we go. And that's in place. Okay, now we're putting this optic back on again, and you need to come in from the side, and there, see that's clipped in. So the wires come in from the side, and then that clips on that way. It'll only go one way. Next, we can get this big loom plug. That's through to the bit that we pulled out. Again, you see there's a little dog leg on it, so you line that up. That's it, that clips into place. And when we're ready, that can be slid onto the board. And there's 1 wire left. There's a hole up the top here, and that comes through right here. This is where the door unlock lock button is. So that needs to poke through that hole when we put the door card on. But now's the time to get all of the wires in their clips, and this cable in all of its clips. There are little dents so that you can see exactly where it was placed, like up the top here in, and get it all into its position so that that cable runs properly for opening and closing the door. Door card on now. Multiple things have to happen, so now's the time to ask for some help. We've got the button needs to go in through the hole. We've got that last clip on the cable needs to go in down there. That one, when it's lifted up, you see here, this came under that hook, into that hook, and then into that hook, and then there's one more when we lift it up, and this cable's got to go through that hole. Everything else is all good, but we've got to get that cable through, the button in, and hook on that last cable. Okay, so we've got the button in, we've got that last cable in, we've got our cable through. So what we need to do now is line up some pins, and there is one that's lining up. That's lining up. So start at the top and work your way across, and then make sure that wire hasn't disappeared. Nothing better than your fist for doing that job. That is it. Okay, so that is now back on. We've got our plug. Oh, and it even worked. Got our plug back in. So now it's just these 2 screws and these screws and the screws up here. We'll have this all back together. T20 screws are back in. 1 here, 2 in there, and 2 underneath here, there and there. So that door card is now back in, and now we're just clipping the power back in. Okay, so we just slide that power cord back in until it clicks, and then you can see there's a click on here that's going to help to hold that in place. Got to pull the handle out of the way and then click that in. Work on the front to get it all in. And then that little clip over the back. Clip, clip, clip. There. That's in, no screws. It's literally just slide back into place. You stick it on the back edge and slide it in. And the little lugs will go down. And that's it. That is it. We are done. The door card is back on. We've got the new handle in place without the broken one. Ginger knows it's done. He's come to check out my work. What are you doing? The button that was missing is back and clipped in place. So, job done. Well done. That is the procedure for how to get that door card off, get it back on again, and how to switch out a handle.